Cisco had all the good prefixes like 222, 333, 444. The WAN answer was 7777777. So we could never cope to get those numbers in San Jose. Until cell phones came about. And then computers came about, and the modems drove them to start duplicating numbers. Cell phones came out, and I had a cell phone scanner that showed me the numbers being called, and I finally wound up with the number 8888888. And 8's a very good number. It's binary. It's a magic computer number. I love 8s. I got married on 8808 at 8:08 p.m. That important to me and my geek wife. We met on a geek cruise, so she works for Apple. So numbers are important to me. When I go to a hotel, I don't judge the room by the bed or the view or anything. I judge it by the number on the door. And so it's great. I was out at Camelback Inn in room 587, and that's one of the ports you use for sending email. And to get around the systems that block us, so I was very happy to send my email from that room. Okay, so anyway, I did dial a joke while I'm working at Hewlett Packard, and dial a joke on the side. Real popular. Then I was in a bowling alley and I saw a Pong game. A little black and white TV set. Dinky TV set. Balls going back and forth. Paddles. People are playing a game. Whoever thought a television would play a game? And then clicked in my head. I have a television at home, and I know everything about television signals. And I can design digital equipment to put out anything I want. I'm so good at that. So I'll go home and make my own Pong game. I sat down and designed it carefully using a counter, just like with my blue boxes, for horizontal and vertical television signals. And I got it done in like 30 chips. And it played Pong on my TV set. You unscrew the back of your TV in those days, you take it apart. It's true open source. The schematic came with the TV, and it showed you all the parts. You could go in and modify anything you felt like. I could run a little wire in. I could put an oscilloscope in and look at the signals, and there's video. It's upside down. I'll put a little transistor inverter. I'd run my own little wire into the TV, and I could put my own signals on there if I generated pulses on that wire at the right time. So that's what I designed my circuit to do, and it was a Pong game. Now, Steve Jobs had gone to college at Reed College in Portland, Oregon, because he heard there was somebody on the staff there that had gotten a Nobel Prize. And these high-level people in the world that have gotten Nobel Prizes and things are very important to Steve. So he went there, but I drove him up his first week of college, and that whole week he sat in a tent in his dorm room with his girlfriend and didn't go to any classes. He showed me his list of classes. He said, "Look, Steve, they're telling me to take all these classes." I said, "Yeah, that's what you take your first year of college." He says, "I don't want to take what they give me. I just want to go attend a Shakespeare class and learn about quantum physics and do all the things you hear about in college." I said, "Well, that's not really how it works," and I would have been too scared to do that. But he basically is so persuasive a talker, and he was real high energy, fast, jumping from one thing to another. And so high up people kind of appreciate his mind. So they let him stay there with not paying any dorm fees, not paying any tuition, but just go sit in on classes whenever he felt like it. So he came back from college after a year or two and saw my Pong game. Wow, Atari Corporation building Pong. Atari was going to establish the whole concept of arcades and arcade machines in arcades. And that's where it was happening, in Los Gatos, California, where I live now. And Steve got a job right down to Atari and impressed the high-ups, and they gave him a job. And his job was, as they designed games, his job was to kind of fix them up or add a little sound chip or something to them. But he didn't get along with the people very well. So they put him on the night shift, alone, by himself. Good. I could go in once in a while, and he'd let me see the games they were doing. And I got so good at the games before they were even out. Amtrak 10, I got so good, eventually I was going to be winning pizzas at a pizza parlor in Scotts Valley playing that thing. But Steve came to me after a short while. Atari tried to hire me, and I said, "I will never leave Hewlett Packard. I'm going to be an engineer at Hewlett Packard for life. You'll never get me away." And then this guy that owned Atari wanted a one-player Pong game where the ball hits the bricks, breakout. And Steve came and described it to me, and I said, "Yeah, I would love to. It would be the most wonderful thing in my life to actually design a game that gets played by kids in arcades." And I had this fascination. I really cared about kids. I told my dad in 5th grade that when I grew up I was going to be an engineer, but second I was going to be a 5th grade teacher. Because the teachers are so important in our life. All the teachers meant that much to me. All the communities, all the institutions I grew up with. So anyway, so I forget what I was talking about. Something. Let me have a sip here. Left my back here. Okay, so
you're going to break out the game for Atari.
We're moving on from Pong to Breakout. So Steve said, "I would love to design it." Steve said there's a little hitch. have to do it in 4 days. It turns out he needed some money to buy into some sort of orchard up in Oregon. He needed to get some money in 4 days. I said, this is not possible. A breakout was not software. It was not a program. You had to connect wires between chips that caused signals to go up and down at the right time on a wire. Very, very difficult. This was a half man-year job. And like, I was the best, but I didn't think I could do it. We stayed up 4 days and nights without sleep. We woke up to sleeping sickness, mononucleosis, real heavy. And we delivered a working breakout game to Atari. So we were successful at it. While I was there, as you're falling asleep, the ARPANET had been created by our Defense Department to connect computers from many universities, from Berkeley and Stanford and Yale and MIT, and all these different campuses were connected to each other, about 12 of them. It's the inspiration of today's internet. No question about it. It's the head of the internet. And he brings up a list of computers. He can go over to Stanford's computer, and there's a bunch of things. Guests log in as a guest, and there's things guests can do. Just like the Pong game, I said, I have to have this. I have to have this. This is Superman stuff. So I went home and designed a circuit now, fit on one little board with about 30 or 40 chips, that put words on my TV. And then I built a little modem, and I could connect to the phone line, and I could type. 30 characters a second was all you could send over modems. I bought a keyboard for $60, the most expensive part of any of this Apple computer stuff. Type away, and I could type to the computer in Boston, and I could type back to my TV set. Wow, I had a TV terminal. Didn't even know one person I could share it with or tell about it, except Steve Jobs. He came home from Oregon one time and saw it, and he found a way to sell it to a local company because it was so much cheaper than these big, huge teletypes that cost as much as a car. So that was another one of the projects we made money on. And then I went to the Homebrew Computer Club. This club was starting up, and I was told that it was for people who had video terminals and things. I thought, wow, I'll go and I'll be a hotshot. They'll see my design and how few parts it is, and I'm too shy to talk, but they'll come up and talk to me. And that's just as good. And I'll be a hero. And I went to this meeting, and everybody's talking microprocessors. Microprocessors, little computers on a chip, and I didn't know what they were. And I was scared, and I'm thinking, I'm never going back to this meeting. I don't belong here. You know, I was lucky to be one of the 40 people at the first meeting, though. It's a famous event now. I took home a data sheet of a little microprocessor, an Intel microprocessor, and I studied it that night, and I said, holy moly, this microprocessor has all sorts of little ones and zeros coded numbers for instructions, like those computers I used to design in high school. You know, 5 years before. I'd even built that little cream soda computer when I met Steve Jobs. I built that thing with little switches and buttons you could push ones and zeros into memory, and it worked. And that was a little starting computer. And here it was on one chip, and I said, oh my gosh, I see the whole formula for having that computer I told my dad I would have. I've got a terminal that can type to a computer. I'll put my own little microprocessor on the board and some memory chips. And dynamic memories are harder to design for. They take some intelligence. They take real engineering. So all these little hobby computer kits that were coming out, kits of parts you built yourself, and all you'd wind up with was a glorified microprocessor and not really a real computer. The Bill Gates, wrote a BASIC for it. And Paul Allen's book is out. He'd be great to get here. So I'm in this club, and I sat down and I had my little. So I built up this computer. And I said, look at our calculators at Hewlett Packard. You turn it on, and it really is a microprocessor in there. It's running a little program, and I would design the chips that were inside. It runs a little program, and it says what key is being pressed. When you press a key, like the 5 button, it says, aha, the 5 button got pressed. I'll put a 5 in the display, and then I'll go back and say what key is being pressed. What key is being pressed? So I said, I'll write a little program like that. My program was 256 bytes. Bytes. Not megabytes, not gigabytes, not kilobytes, bytes. A little tiny program. But it could read what I was typing and let me type in data into memory, look at data that was in memory on my computer, and run a program somewhere. And I wrote that to 2 chips. In those days, we didn't have very many transistors on a chip. It took 2 chips to have 256 bytes of program. And I went down to Hewlett Packard to my cubicle one night finally and wired it up. I wouldn't buy an Intel microprocessor. It was $400. I couldn't afford it. And I wouldn't buy, the Motorola was $40. But then I bought one for $20. The newest, latest microprocessor, the best one, $20. The 6502. And I plugged it into my design. I designed everything up on a drafting table first. And decided where the chips were going to plug into a little board that I could plug them into. And then I soldered every little short wire. Soldered short, little thin wire wrap wires between the pins. And it was just my style. I got tons of these boards I built that way. And I finally got it to work as a computer. I could type stuff into memory. And I knew, now I need a programming language. Bill Gates was known for having written BASIC for the Intel chips. I said, I've got to write BASIC. BASIC is the language. BASIC is the language of games in books. And I'd never programmed in BASIC. Okay? I'd never taken a class in writing a computer language. But I sort of had good fundamental ways to build it, to write the book myself. I designed a very well-structured BASIC, wrote it as quick as I could. And I took out numbers with decimal points so I could save a month and be the first one to have a BASIC on this new microprocessor I'd chosen. And it was extremely successful. I was done in 3 months, and now I could go and write programs in BASIC, in a higher level language, at my computer club. People would want to, they would gather around. Well, around that one of those times, Steve Jobs came back from that orchard in Oregon, and he came to the Homebrew Computer Club for the first time. And he saw this interest. Well, I was giving out my designs. I was giving them away. No copyright notices. Go build it. Here, build this computer. It only takes about $41 chips, and you can get them at work or whatever, plug them in, wire it up yourself. I gave out my software. And Steve came and he said, look, all these people want to build your computer, but it's too hard. So what we'll do is we'll make PC boards for 20 bucks, sell them for 40 bucks. They buy a $40 PC board, plug their chips in that they can get easily, and it's all done. And we have to sell about 50 of them to get our money back. I wasn't sure we'd sell 50 of them. Steve says, yeah, but the two of us can have a company for once in our lives. So we started a company just to basically have two best friends have a company of their own. Not necessarily thinking we're going to make a profit. Although Steve was very shrewd, also everything sales. He'd grown up in the surplus sales world. Okay, I said, I can't start a company. I work for Hewlett Packard for the rest of my life. I can't let them down, so I've got to propose it to them first. I went into Hewlett Packard with my boss and his boss and the lab manager and a bunch of other people. I described the computer that we could build for $800 selling price. You could write programs in your own home and see it on your own TV. And they turned me down for a lot of good Hewlett Packard reasons. And Hewlett Packard wouldn't have built the fun computer that was going to start this whole industry. They wouldn't have done it. They would have done a very boring engineering utility tool that cost a ton of money and didn't look fancy at all. So it's a good thing they turned it down. So Steve and I were in business. And he proposed the name Apple Computer. I later found out that one of the guys working on the orchard with him had said, I got a great name for your computer company. He said Apple Computer to me, and I said, what about Apple Records, the Beatles record company? He says, well, that's a record company, we're a computer company. I said, oh, that's all it takes? He said, yeah. He was my junior, but I trusted him for that knowledge. So now we got a great, great name. We tried to think of better names, like, geeky technical names, but we couldn't. So we worked in the garage for the next period, selling, well, first of all, we went and paid, I sold my most valuable possession in the world, my Hewlett Packard calculator. Steve sold it to the end, we got some money and paid a guy to lay out a PC board by hand for the Apple I computer. And I got that Apple I design done, and we thought it was beautiful. And then I got a call from Steve Jobs while I was at work, and he said, are you sitting down? And he said, I got an order for $50,000. This was the biggest financial shock that has ever happened in Apple history. $50,000. My salary at Hewlett Packard was $25,000, half that. We had invested a few $100 each to make the PC board. $50,000. We had no money and nowhere to borrow money. How did we build these computers? Fully built boards, computer boards with all the parts in them. We got the parts on 30 days credit, 30 days to pay for them. Built the boards up in 10 days, drove them down to the store, and we got paid cash on delivery. And that's how we did it for about half a year. The Apple I, the garage period. And we built up a little bank account as we did it. But within 3 months, I designed this incredible computer based around color. Nobody had ever expected color in a low-cost computer. Nobody had ever expected graphics in games, color games. Nobody expected pixels. And nobody expected, game things like paddles built in. I built it all in there. And it was half as many chips as the Apple I. And it was 10 times the performance. It was so fast and clever tricks with the memory and the most clever design tricks I'd ever come up with. Let's take a little circuit that was 8 chips, figure out a way to get it down to 5. Do a clever little, what's called a state machine, get